see it on Twitch.
I had to press it twice though. That's so weird. How mysterious.
Oh yeah. Okay, now I have to wait for it again.
Oh,
Dude,
what?
man, Australia is screwed. Okay, let me refresh your page. Okay, now we're good.
Good. Congratulations.
Yeah, I figured it'd be easier to talk about finals first, because then we can like segue into everything else.
That's a good idea. Did the VOD get uploaded yet? I'm not sure.
I don't think it's on YouTube. I know it's on Twitch.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so
Yeah, let me get up.
I think final format was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think it was interesting. I feel like the only big letdown of the finals was the picks became so standard day one. It was kind of like Anna picked Free Mecha, Dan picked Wiz, TQ didn't want to play Cooper or AOD, which I think was the most interesting pick. Picked Naru.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went down the list. I feel like it would have been a lot different if Senrid and Void, if Senrid and Villain were in there, because then you have to actually juggle around like trying to either avoid Senrid or Villain, or try and see if you can get them to knock each other out.
Sure.
But that also would mean taking like, a harder matchup day one against the Western player.
That makes sense, yeah.
So I feel like day one was kind of sleep.
I think
in terms of like...
Okay, go on first, yeah. I'll let you finish your thought. Yeah.
I think the gameplay was better than I expected, though.
Okay.
For the most part.
Yeah. So, just as a heads up, thanks Void just for telling us that the VOD is here. They are. Good job, guys. I'm very happy it's here.
Thank you, Void.
Alright, Riley, you were talking.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I don't know, how did you feel about the picks day one? Do you think like it was like okay? Did you feel like it wasn't as up to snuff as you thought?
Okay. First I'll say hi Sellers, Freshwater, Void, Arthur, and Remy, everyone. It's been a while. We're like easing back into things, so we've got a short stream today, and then throughout next week I'll start actually streaming again. Yes, okay, so we're talking about the picks themselves. See, like, it's a thing that you can't fault the players for, though, right? And even the format itself is like, it would have been interesting to see, like, some wild picks, but at the same time, it's like, everyone's fighting for their lives, right? Like, actually, this makes me curious about outside of, like, Puyo, because you would have seen more of this draft pick sort of format before, right? Have you seen that many like crazy picks in high stakes environments like these?
Yeah, it's not like all the time tournament, but there have definitely been picks where someone picks a harder opponent to like screw over someone else because they're confident they will still beat that harder opponent.
I see.
I think the difference here is that you don't have to worry about lives in these draft picks and other games like MOBAs. Like you usually just go next set and you keep, your life technically. Like if you lose 2-1, you go back to another best of 3 where you still lose 2-1.
Oh, so like they also don't have like that carryover?
Yeah, you don't have that carryover because usually like in other tournaments, it's like you pick draft pick, you go into like the bracket, then you kind of like rotate again and so on.
See, and I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why people didn't do crazy picks, because like that life system really ensured that you want to take that 2-0 against someone, and even if you're confident you can beat them, like I am the sort of player who thrives off of like going 2-1 against people, because like I can lose the first set and then just like crush later, but because I didn't want to take that risk, and I'm sure so many other people felt the same way, like you really want to try and choose someone who you think you can 2-0. So I guess the question becomes like, do you think that it would have been more interesting if the life system didn't work the way it did and it was just like first to 2 sets or first to 10?
That's a tough one, because I think in this scenario, the answer is yes.
Right.
I think, at least for the day one, I think for day 2 it was okay. But if we're talking like day 1 with Senrid and Villain in it, then I think the life system is super interesting. I think it's just because we had 3 matchups that were basically super favorite to the other player.
Right.
I do think Free Mecha played better than I expected. She clearly had like a good game plan into what was probably the hardest matchup she could have gotten.
Yeah, just put it on in the background as Subway Surfers for you guys.
Yeah, Subway Surfer some Ana,
Yeah.
Free Mecha. Because when I think of this matchup, right, it's like Ana kind of does everything Free Mecha likes to do, but like slightly better.
Right. Sure. That makes sense.
Right. It's a lot of, efficiency chaining, small attacks,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and on a bit like small attack, efficiency chaining out the ass. Good luck, It's rough. But at the same time, it was a lot more competitive because it was playing someone who, in my opinion, has the better skill set for that.
Sure.
Oh, God. And I don't know what else she could have done. I think she played the best she could, especially coming into this, knowing like she'd be on a pick and then potentially not being on a pick if Ryder had gone in. I think really kind of screwed up the pressure of like, oh God, do I just prep for Ana now or do I swap off?
Yeah, I know that there was a really interesting conversation that we had leading up to the event where Frameka really wanted to learn how to beat Ana's playstyle, and then the change happened, but actually the pick didn't change much, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, because... Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, just because of the nature of their matchup, it like still made sense for Ana to pick Frameka.
Yeah. I think if Ryder had gone in, Ana would just pick Ryder and you go next.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Free Mecha did as well as she could. I think WizKid had probably the worst performance he could have ever had against Dan. I think it was hard no matter what.
Yeah. I think a lot of people talked about this after the fact, including himself, and he was saying things like how he was happy that he did try to like make that adaptation where even though he hadn't practiced it enough leading up to the event, which makes sense because he was never like meant not as in he wasn't meant to, but like like,
he's never meant to be in their
was
US community like him.
Right, no, don't do so much. But like, yeah, of course, like, he had no idea he was going to take a break. Like everyone else has said, like, oh, I'm going to take a break. Dan was going to take a break. Like everyone was saying it's break time. And then all of a sudden he gets flung into the event. And it's like, well, the only thing he can do is try and make that adaptation on the spot. And even if it's not very good, it's still like, he knows that if he had gone for his standard, like, stairs build order, then Dan would have rushed him all the way through again. And it's like, nothing better would have happened anyway, right? So...
Yeah, I agree with you. It's just hard for Wiz, because I think the adaptation was good. I feel like, in hindsight, maybe should have tried the race stairs first before the GTR. But I still think the GTR was okay.
As in, like, started off, and if it was really not working, then pivot over.
Yeah, go to stairs. Yeah,
That's
I think
fair.
like in hindsight, that might have been a little bit nicer.
I see. Maybe there would have been a bit of a surprise factor too, because, oh, then Dan gets comfortable with doing stairs again. Then all of a sudden, if he swaps off into GTR, then maybe the game plan would have worked slightly better, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's why I say, like, worst performance is Dan. Because, like, I don't think he was the worst performance in group stage.
Right, sure.
If you think about time to practice versus...
Yeah.
What's it called? I'm trying to think. Time to practice versus your, like, strategy. Because I think the strategy was good.
Sure.
Like, overall.
Yeah.
I think either Neru or KT probably had the worst performance if you think about their skill level versus how well they did.
Sure. That's reasonable.
But, yeah, because, like, Wiz, last minute come in, and I was like, okay, good luck, man. Like,
yeah,
that's rough.
Exactly.
Free Mecha had easily the hardest matchup she could have gotten, and given,
did really
like,
well.
her placings compared to, like, her peers with KT and Neru, I think it's fair to say there was more expectation on KT and Neru to do better in some aspects.
Yes. Right, so then they ended up having their roughest performance in, like, a relative sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it was bad for KT, because I think KT, like, we kind of knew he would get nervous, but no one wants to be like, oh, if he loses the first set, he might get nervous and then he'll just lose. Because, like, no one wants to say that for AOD or KT, because it's just not interesting. I don't think it's also that fair, because, like, nerves just kind of happen sometimes.
Yes. Well, the thing is, this is sort of, like, information I don't remember if he talked about it in Ascension. I know he mentioned it to, like, us. But I think it's still, like, it's nothing personal, so I think it's fine to bring up. But it was the fact that he actually said that he felt some of the most calm during that set that he ever does during these events. And it actually ended up screwing him over, because there's that concept of, if you get too calm, then you're a bit complacent, and so you do your own thing, but you're not really thinking while you play, and then you end up, like, screwing yourself over, right? And it's not something that's easy to control, of course, but Kibri was just like, I was so calm going in, and then I got absolutely whooped. Because the nerves weren't there to help me, which is such an interesting thing.
Yeah, I remember he mentioned to me that he felt like he got overconfident.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Cause I do think AOD is like a comfort matchup for him.
Yeah.
In a sense that like, you know AOD's gonna do, like, Cooper likes the kind of like messier fights, usually. And then, I think for Neru, for the amount of practice Neru's put in, it's kind of like, oh, I feel like it's taking a set off of Hiku shouldn't be really that upsettable, thinking about, like, the gameplay level Neru has been constantly talking about having versus the performance.
Yeah.
And honestly, if, like, losing to Hiku in 2 close sets is underperforming, then you're probably doing something right. Like, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So day 1, I felt was like, okay, it still became pretty standard. I think day 2 was kind of weird. I actually do think Cliv kind of choked by not picking Void.
Okay, so
But
this is...
to be fair, I'm gonna be fair and say, like, I had knowledge of Dan's strat, and so did every other English player. I don't think Cliv bothered to ask anyone.
I actually didn't know what
I don't think
it
he did any scouting.
So he kept the secret from, like... Well, the thing... Did the other top players know? I know you knew, and then some of the other, like mid or, like, low-high players knew. But, like, I didn't know... I don't know if Void knew. I don't know if, like...
I think the only other player who knew was Anna.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In terms of, like, players who are chatting with people within the scene.
Okay, so, like, not many people in the top... Like, the top 4 didn't know. Oh, Anna didn't even know. Okay, never mind. He did keep a secret. I think it's just because you knew.
Okay.
Right? So he's, like,
okay, I did tell... Okay. Okay, never mind. I was the only person who knew, and I played Dan with it. I thought he was playing other people from what he sounded like. He said he had been practicing with people.
Yes, he did practice with
Or maybe it was like net play practice, because I saw this, and I remember I gave Dan kind of hard, but I was like, I don't think this will work. And then, to be fair, it did end up working for a little bit until Cliv adapted to it.
Yeah.
But then, like, Cliv was not ready for it still, and it got damn... Even if it wasn't perfect mileage, just enough mileage to win a set, right?
Yes.
Like... And so then he can go back to another set with, like, his usual style.
Yeah, I was just gonna quickly rewind to, like, day 1 talk. So, like, the thing is, the format itself didn't make day 1 very interesting, but I think the day 1 not interesting snowballed into day 2 really interesting, because
that is true.
The fact that everyone came in with 2 lives made day 2 a lot more stressful for the free seeders, right? Like, the 4 of us, we were meant to have an easier time because, well, especially me, I was meant to fight someone with 1 life, because... Like, surely someone gets a life taken off of them, and then all of a sudden they don't.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, even, like, Hiku is slightly threatening because he has 2 lives. And it's like, I was like, oh, he's not going to be threatening. And then I got punched in the face for it because for some reason he decided to be, like, super insane that day. But I do think that even though day 1 ended up being less interesting, like, day 2 culminated into something really special because of it. So, like, maybe I actually have no issue with the format because it ended up working out. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I would still run this format again. I think this was just kind of like a one-off of, like, if we were to run it again, like, this next year, I think we would have another scenario where we actually have a lot of top players get in, because now we understand, like, how the system works.
Certainly, yeah.
And I would assume there will be adjustments.
Yeah.
So I think I would just run it back. I think it's a good format. I personally find it very interesting.
Me too. I think I don't really have any complaints about the overall structure. Like, the way that the placements work and how they influence... Yeah, like, the picks, that's really cool. Because, like you said, it's nothing we've ever seen in the Puyo community before. You called it, and you were just, like, you were popping off about it. But it's like, yeah, like, no one else could have predicted that, except for you, I think. It was kind of
the only one. I think he was kind of annoyed that I predicted it, because I was, like, half prepping some people for it. Because I was like, okay, just how the system works. And I think Hiku didn't... I think, on one hand, he thought it was cool that I figured it out.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I know Haven and them were like, oh my god, he's prepping, like, Yoshi and them already. He's been talking to them, like, the last... like, a month about how this format works and, like, the things you can do in it.
It was pretty funny that it came through that way.
Yeah. I do think overall, again, run again, I feel like day 2 was significantly more interesting because of it. Okay, I have to ask you, the DC that I have with Hiku, Do you think that killed all of Hiku's momentum? Because it felt like he was honestly on pace to win that set if that DC didn't happen.
The thing is, I think it also like shot me, so it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
I think we played kind of flimsy, and I just like won coin flips at the end. That's the difference. I think it like turned the game into neither player gets momentum, and I just happened to win coin flips. To be honest, I don't think I can take merit for like winning after the DC. I just like I made some like moves that happened to be correct, and I got kind of lucky. And then like by set 3, I think we refreshed and it was fine. But before then, I think it messed with both of us.
Yeah, because I was remember watching that, I was like, oh, this is so bad for Hiku, because Hiku was kind of just riding the momentum.
He was balling,
wave.
yeah, 100%.
And then just losing all that momentum, I felt honestly a little bad for him, because I was like, oh, wait, it felt like he had a very real chance of winning that set.
This is so frustrating too, because this is like more ammo for Hiku to be like, why can't we just go back to Puyoverse? It never does this.
Oh, don't worry. Hiku immediately lost ammo after the crew battle today.
Oh no!
You remember when Hiku said on prediction?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I lost to Rick in early attacks, it means I'll lose to everyone to early attacks. I'll tell you what happened in that crew battle.
Oh
the Fred started losing to a lot of early attacks.
That's so silly.
And it became a little bit of a meme.
That's quite funny, actually.
But yeah, I think that was a really interesting set of day 2. Cliv and Dan was also really interesting because of Dan's like, I'm gonna call it like alt submarine for lack of a term off the top of my head.
Yeah, I need to ask him if this is actually like the word or the like term he's using. At one point he said somewhere, and I don't even know where specifically, it could have just been in stream chat or something. He said max stacks, which is like instead of multiple stacking, it's max stacking because you start multiple stacking on the floor, right? So if anyone is unaware of what his new style is, he has a video on it. Let me link it in chat because it's like actually really good. But yeah, anyway, go on. You can call it whatever you want, though. Because I don't think he's
I'll go with max stacking then.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. The thing I noticed when I was playing practice sets against Dan that I don't think a Cliv took advantage of, and it was kind of tilting me. And I think I actually mentioned this in your set too, was like, this style when I was playing with it, against it, was I would just build super safe, and then Dan would more likely lose the coin flip.
Sure.
I feel like with a Cliv during that set, it was kind of like, okay, I commit to extension that technically is efficient, but it gives me no safety against Dan.
Sure, right.
So I guess I'll die now. Like, okay, did a Cliv why? And to be fair, like, he didn't know the strat.
Yeah,
so,
because
like,
it's also like
he probably
I have
didn't
no
understand
idea
where
what
it's weak.
the flow of the game should be, right? Yeah, here's the strat.
Yeah, because like it's very good power, but it does kind of sometimes struggle with going into full chain effectively.
Yes,
like it's really good for attacks like this. But if you kind of like, how to put it, if you just get to full chain, like it'll often lose to chains like this.
Yeah.
I think it has potential for players who are not nearly as aggressive. Why it does work out against the Cliv. But the issue is, like, you have to play pretty safe if you want to do that. Sometimes you have to give up a little bit of efficiency just to keep your chain alive.
Yeah.
Because Cliff has the speed. He doesn't need to, like, do anything crazy. He just needs to, like, play not, overly efficient.
Yes.
In a very weird sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, like, Dan swapped us off here because, Dan talked about, like, he's like, oh, it didn't really work that time. So he kind of just, like, kept going back to it every now and again, it felt like.
Yeah. He talks about it in the video, but he said that like practicing that strat actually made his submarine stronger. So he's thinking that his game plan might be to practice the max stacks during net play and like off-stream practice, but then for tournaments and stuff he brings out submarine again, because it seems like it's sort of the thing where like you hone one skill and then it carries over to like another. So yeah, I think that's his feeling with it overall, that like even if it doesn't end up being viable, it's a good like thought exercise, sort of like what Finno does with like random, like I'm doing universe, and it's like, why are you doing that? Like, not because I'm going to use it, but because it's a good like exercise for my brain so that I can like get better at other things.
I agree with that. I do think overall, like, I think Dan should practice it. I'm just hyping on because I'm like watching a clip, and I think I watched you play another. I think if you even go back, I don't know if you watched your stream. I think you can hear me just like tilt because I'm like, Why is Yoshi doing that? It's so clear what Dan's doing. Just don't fucking save.
Oh no, man! I probably watched the back of it. I was like half asleep. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll have to
I
like
was
actually
hard
review it.
tilted on that call.
Yeah, I am so sorry. I let you down.
It's okay, it's okay.
I'll do better
But
for you
I
next
think
time.
again, like stuff like this, right? Like look at that tail. Like it's so hard to transition to the main chain, but if you fight someone who like a Clive, built for his own flat stack, but because it's so slow,
Yeah,
you kind of see repeated follow up.
yeah.
I think it's a format's very strong on PPT too. I don't know
Mm.
about champions though.
Yeah, yeah. I'm curious about the viability. Like, this might be another chain that's like, because you don't want to attack low on PPC because it takes so long for pieces to come out. But it's
Yeah.
less of an issue on PPT2. So I wonder if this is something that actually won't be as transferable. But we'll just have to see.
We'll have to see. Yeah. And then what was it? It was Void for AOD. I don't really have much thoughts over honestly.
Yeah.
Like Void kind of churned it up, and then AOD just couldn't keep up, which was like fine.
Yeah, I think that was
You know, it
actually one of the
happens.
most normal, like, matches of day 2. Like, it's sort of, this is actually a very expected result. The momentum was about what you'd expect. Yeah, one of the more normal ones. I don't think I have particular comments about it, but Void, if you had anything to say, feel free to mention it.
Yeah. I did think Ana versus Rook was interesting that it finally happened.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, that was a fun
We've been
one.
waiting for that.
I think Ana played really well. Like all things considered, with like you can always prep like video wise for someone,
Yeah.
but it's so weird when you have to play like your very first set ever with them, and it's in like a big tournament.
Certainly. There's so much pressure as well, right? Like, it's not just a big tournament, but it's
Yeah.
like literally the biggest tournament of the year.
Yeah, because that set one was really close.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I was waiting for it to happen. I was like, take the life off.
yeah, I legitimately thought I was gonna have it too. I was like, oh my gosh, she's about to like sneak this off. It's gonna be huge.
Yeah, I believed in it.
But Rick is just so good at buckling down.
Yeah.
It does like, I don't know what it is, because he does this in like the finals too, to a degree, where like
Yeah.
he just has a bad first set, but something that clicks where he like kind of starts recognizing what someone is looking for,
Yes.
and then he just zones in on it, and you kind of have to readjust yourself because Rick will for some reason just download that one thing really specifically.
Yes. I think, to be honest, it's sort of similar to me, like, where I can, like, drop a set and then I'll go ham afterwards. Like, we just take a moment to, like, figure out the opponent, and then when we do, it's just like, okay, this is a free game for us now. Like, we know exactly what we need to do.
Yeah. I'm very interested if they play more because like 2 sets is like not enough to form an opinion because for all we know on that set is like maybe Rick just had a better game plan
Yeah.
of like what he wanted to do in the tournament, and then Anna's game plan, like it seemed like there was good thoughts and good strategies.
Yeah.
But because like first set vibes, it's like you can't really 100% be like, oh, this was like the plan or not.
Yeah, that's true too. Like, things can just be, like, a bit, floppy for a first set. Even if it's like, we had a general plan, but it usually doesn't go that way. Especially if you're not warmed up.
Yeah, but I think that's probably one of my favorite sets to watch though from the event. I just
was
thought
really
like
fun.
even though it was like a 2-1, it was super interesting to finally see them both play.
Yes, I think so too.
And then Void says, I thought AOD would be a tougher opponent to deal with due to his unpredictability and the fact that he wasn't stressing about the finals, but I think I ended up making the best decisions in it inadvertently because Ana Maru would have given me a harder time actually. I'd more likely to lose a set to her and not have 2 lives I need against Rick. Yeah, that's true because
crazy.
like if
That's
you do
crazy.
set on it. Yeah, dude. The second life actually came in clutch for Void.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like, yeah, it ended up being like, not so interesting in a lot of ways in day 1, but then, like, yeah, the carryover effect is really stressful
Very
for the
good.
players, I think. And sometimes that isn't easily conveyed for people who are just watching, because it's like, oh, you just have like your 2 lives, right? But for us, it's like, we're going to die. Like, it's literally
Yeah.
our life on the line.
Yeah, I think that made finals like pretty interesting too, because you and Dan both with 1 life, the 2
Yeah.
lives for Rick and Void made it like pretty even. Like because it was pretty even, it was like interesting.
Yes. I agree.
I do think it was funny that they pulled in Kyobi to do finals, and dude just like randomly gets plucked up.
Yeah, right. It was a pretty random, like, yeah, sweeping him up out of nowhere, but I think a lot of people were there for it.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't really have much to say against you versus Dan because I already kind of said my piece. I feel like, you just played very weird committal when Dan was very clearly rushing you a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I was in the headspace to like make that much adaptation. Like it was pretty late at night, and I think that's one thing that like it's easy to look over for all of us here. Like Akliv's playing at a late time, Rick was playing at a late time, and I was also playing at a late time. So all of us were probably playing a little weird, and that it's not like fully excusable because that's just like the nature of this is that we should have prepared for that sort of thing. Well, to be fair, Rick can't. And Akliv, I guess, has real life commitments. Anyway, I could have prepared a bit more.
But I think it's just hard because like you can't really. No one wants to sit on commentary because it just like it doesn't sound good.
Yeah,
right?
no,
It's
exactly.
just, like,
On commentary,
a
you don't want to
cop-out.
mention it, but definitely as a spectator in the back of your mind, you can suddenly think about the fact that like maybe some of those weird decisions were unnatural because of the surrounding factors.
Yeah, it was rough. Dan's style, I think, is just so good if you're even just a little bit tired because he will just make life miserable for you.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like the reliance on playing like normally good against Dan is really effective because he's so all in. But on the other hand, if you make like a slight misstep in the safety of your chain, then he can exploit that so easily because he will just all in and you'll just be like, oh, I got caught. Oh no, I die. And that just happened a lot during my set.
Yeah. I feel like the event overall was very good, both from players and from commentary.
Oh my gosh, it was so incredible. I think a lot of people were like super hyped up, not just by the matches, but like there's so much merit to the commentary during this event that like people were pumped up for every single match. And even like between all the disconnects, that's one of the hardest things, right? Like keeping people engaged even when like there are technical issues. But I think like everyone did a superb job of just keeping the momentum of the event flowing, which is awesome.
Yeah, I think commentary was also interesting because I think Riona did a lot better on commentary compared to like some of his previous events. I'm not sure what it was, but he certainly felt more comfortable. I think this time around.
Interesting, yeah.
And because I'm not sure how quite I would describe it, because I think previous Riona commentary, the feedback was kind of like the payoff and how long it would take him to say something was always kind of awkward.
Yes, right. Like there was a bit of stumbling.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this time around he was a bit more practiced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that's just because he had the break or if something else is going on, but I feel like his commentary was pretty strong. I think Wiz did pretty well too.
I was gonna say I really enjoyed like Wiz's commentary this time around, and not but there shouldn't be like all other times I did not enjoy it. Do not twist my words, especially you, Riley. I know you.
I get what you mean
Gremlin.
because sometimes Wiz's commentary is a little self-centered.
So every now and then, I think it also suffered from like confidence as well, similar to Riona.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, he'd try and identify things, but then he wouldn't exert. And one of the things that, like, as a commentator, you need to be able to do is, even if you're going to make a mistake, just be confident, and then when you make a mistake, like, you can then play it out, right? Because then that's a moment that you can go, oh, wow, like, I didn't see that from the player, and, like, it just makes it all the more engaging for the audience, because you connect with them more, right?
Yeah. I agree. I think this time around, Wiz also just have the pressure of like having to worry about tournaments. 'Cause I think he gets really hung up on his losses.
Yeah.
So when he gets like real hung up, I think it's hard for him not to want to talk about it because he wants to get out of his system.
Yeah. Totally fair.
Yeah, I think he did pretty well. I think Kyobi did pretty well for like someone who basically like no knowledge. Like I think my entire time when Wiz was and Rihanna was commentating, I was just in DMs with Kyobi trying to catch up with the speed on all the players.
Okay, that's really good. Yeah, thank goodness we have you on the team, Riley. You're the person to go to for catching people up to speed on these things.
Yeah. I know Haven said he wanted, like, next time to have notes for commentators that they had to bring in, like, last minute.
Hmm.
Because I think he felt bad that I ended up doing it with Kyobi. Because I feel like he sees it as more of, like, an Ascension thing, should be doing that.
Yeah, that's
And to be
reasonable.
fair, that's probably true. But I don't think they need to really focus on that if they know another commentator is already doing that anyways.
Yeah, yeah.
But I can see like why from like maybe a businessy kind of perspective, like, oh, this is our job, we should be doing that.
Hmm.
But at least for me, like I didn't mind doing it. Like, well, this is just another day in the park for me.
And to be honest, that was just like the general vibe of the event, where it's like this is just like, sure, it is meant to be like this huge combination of everything we've worked up to, but also like, yeah, like all of us have been involved in some capacity already, so I think it's perfectly reasonable that like Kirby was on the mic during one or two events throughout PGRS as well, so it was reasonable enough that he came back on. It wasn't like he was put literally out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, he's been around a little bit.
Yeah, like, he definitely just didn't know like the overseas players. Like I think that stuff he commentated basically was just all like the usual English players,
Yes, that's
from what I
right.
remember.
Yeah.
So it was mainly like Rick, Cliv, and then like any notable matchups on like YOD could be considered strong. The villain art thing. Like he didn't see that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. But I suppose that also lends itself to like the surprise factor as well, where it's like, oh, I didn't know this player had grown so much. So it's also cool, like, having someone who was familiar with the scene some time ago come back and be like, oh, wow, like, this has changed so much, because it's so easy for us to get caught up in what's happening now that, like, looking back can become difficult, because you forget, right? Like, you forget that this person used to struggle so much in this matchup or whatever. But when you have someone who only lived through that time, they can easily pick it up and be like, wow, like, there's been this amount of growth in these players.
Yeah, I think the event was good overall. I think that potion was probably the most compliments I've gotten from my commentary. I think the entire season.
Aw, I'm glad people are
Yeah,
recognizing that.
same because I wasn't quite expecting it either. Because I know everyone would be like, "How about matches?" But I think it was like as soon as like Kyobi and Haven, so Haven ended streaming like Kyobi, Haven, Wiz, and everyone did the usual post stream group
Yes.
call where we just kind of talk about the event.
Uh-huh.
I forget exactly what Kyobi says. He's like, dude, what the hell? Your commentary is like insane now from what it used to
Aw,
be.
yay.
And then yeah, like Haven was like, yeah, that was some of the best commentary I've ever seen from you. I was like, oh, I felt good.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah, I think part of it was I was just studied up a lot just throughout the season, and I finally had like a chance to show off all the like random bits of knowledge I have.
Yeah, that's
Like the
true.
stuff.
Yeah, no, go on.
Oh, you go for it. You go first. I make you go first.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that not only is it a culminating moment for the players, but it's also easy to forget that, like, yeah, for everyone that's been involved in production side, this is a big thing for them. Like, Heaven had to put in so much extra work to make this stream happen. That's one of the people like we really need to just like shout out, because the I don't know, this production was out of this world. I've never seen anything like it. But then, yeah, circling back to your performance as well, like, you've been watching this season the entire time, and for you to come on for the finals and to be able to, like, dissect everything and pull apart, like, this is why this matchup matters so much, right? There are very few people, and like, reasonably, right, because they have...
Yeah.
limited time to go through and watch VODs and all of that and keep up with every tournament that happened. But like, it's so nice that we did have someone who did watch through all the tournaments and like knows the players well, not only as players but also as individuals too. I think it like breathes a lot of life into these finals and the stakes that are here.
Yeah, and I appreciate those kind of words because I think before we go into the Haven, because I do want to talk about the videos they made, because I think they're pretty interesting. At least for me, I think the advantage I have compared to like my peers on commentary, like Wiz and Briona, is not always that just because I have the experience that it's easier for me to get my thoughts out, because sometimes I will stutter on my own thoughts.
Sure.
I think as a player, I've also improved, so I see a lot more options when I play personally, and being able to separate like a commentator option versus a player option, because there's always it's so much easier to see options on commentary.
Yeah, totally,
Like,
right?
but like knowing like which ones are more real to talk about on commentary, I think is just like a skill within itself, because it's very easy to be like, oh, to see every easy extension possible that the players aren't
Yes,
able
right?
to. But knowing which ones to talk about that are like actually important to talk about, I think is the hard part.
Yeah, I think your upskilling in the game throughout this year has allowed you to become even more like. I think that's one of the reasons why your commentary stood out more than it used to. Because before you were like, you always joke about the fact that you were retired for a time, but also like the fact that you were sort of retired, in a way you could say, and maybe this isn't the right way to say it, but like it does hold you back to an extent, I guess, because
It certainly
yeah.
did.
I think it's
I mean, the early commentary circuit was not great for me, I think. I did like okay.
Yeah. But then as you started like conversing with the players, because you were playing yourself, it made it a lot easier to identify things that were relevant to, yourself because you're playing, and also to the players you were interacting with.
Yeah, that is true. It certainly made me more opinionated, which I was always been opinionated, but it's a lot easier to be opinionated when I'm playing actively.
Yes, because
For
people can
better or
trust.
worse for some players.
Not this Riley guy again. No, I have to respect his opinion. Oh.
I definitely like upset a few players with my opinion on their gameplay. I cannot deny that. But at the same time, I feel like the other big difference compared to like prior years versus Advent League, where I feel like my commentary style is still very much analytical. I just wasn't as much color commentary.
Sure.
But I feel like the big difference was like I was kind of competing in Advent League. I was kind of in a similar spot where like, I wasn't playing as much, but because I wasn't really putting up results, I think that was the big difference compared to like the PGRS versus Advent League. Because now, because I was putting up results, like I think my weight, or sorry, the weight of my words held more for a lot of players, because I'm not giving my opinion as just as like a commentator where they can just kind of like shrug it off and be like, well, whatever, you're just commentating.
Yeah.
It was, this person commentating is also someone who just randomly would top 8 an event, or just like randomly take off a top seed.
Yeah.
And I think that made people more willing to listen to my opinion,
Yeah.
but also get more annoyed if I thought they were doing something wrong.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, it probably became more valuable because you are now in like the player seat every now and then as well. So like you said, you'd identify things that were actually realistic to think about. Whereas before it's like maybe you made a good observation, but it wasn't realistic for the player to think about that, or
Yeah, or it just like, wasn't part of like the current meta game that they were trying to play. Like maybe the match was too aggressive to really kind of go for that sort of extension.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another really interesting development in the Western scene, is that there is so much nuance in our gameplay compared to you. If we look back in Advent League and try to commentate it, which might be a fun exercise sometime, the thing is, it's actually not that deep.
Like, yeah, it's so ass.
My gameplay is like, oh, I got a 2-double, and everyone cheered because they thought I was playing really well. But it's because they weren't prepared at all for it. It's not that
it was just the
played
outlier.
that well. It's just an outlier, and people are not used to that gameplay. So at the time, it was actually just like me taking advantage of everyone not like playing to this style at all. It's
old League was like no one could build a 2-double. Like it was actually a struggle to get like who could build a 2-double. Was so funny.
Yeah.
Like in hindsight now,
I'd sometimes say this as one of those things that like I'm not meaning to flex, but also sort of it was the case that I sort of like introduced the 2-double to the community.
Yeah,
because like no one was playing mid game like that. Like I would 2-double Void and it'd be like, oh, now he can't build his stairs anymore. And just to be like really clear, this is back in like 2018 or 2017 or something. Like this is way back. So Void has developed like a lot since then, of course, but back on Puyoverse days back then, like I would just blow up his sandwich, and it's like, oh, wow, Yoshi, you're such a good player. I'm like, I just built these 2-doubles. I'm not even observing. Like observation wasn't even a thing I was thinking about. I just go.
Amen. I think that's all I have to say about commentary. I don't know if you have any other closing thoughts. I think Wiz I think will be very good on color. Riona will
Yeah.
probably get better at color as well.
Yes, I think so too.
I think they both have the potential for some like analytical, but I don't think that's like their main shtick
And
compared to
it
like Feno or
probably
myself.
needs a bit of upskilling in the game as well, because like we said, like Riona has missed a lot of like fundamental things which would feel like they're simple things to identify. So if he ends up putting a bit more time into the game, maybe. But I think otherwise, like, he's pretty suited to the color. Same with Wiz, like, he's also a work in progress with his gameplay at the moment. And I think he definitely has the potential because he's pushing his gameplay. And so eventually I think he'll become a stronger analytical commentator. But for the time being, I think you and Finner are really, like, the standouts when it comes to that space.
That's fair. Actually, this is perfect segue because if we're gonna talk about videos, I'm gonna say right now, I think Wiz had the best one.
Explain.
Okay, so my kind of like, I know I memed about like the Ascension rating, which I still think is kind of dumb that's on there over like the tournament rating.
Sure.
But for me, when I looked at these videos and I was supposed to like show off the player, it really felt like Wiz to me. It was the only one I remember them trying to give a storyline. And it was the
Oh,
one I
interesting.
talked about.
Right.
Where I talked about like how Wiz had a very rough back half of season.
Uh-huh.
I mentioned this like on streams and in like my own personal channel, even here, where it was like, yeah, Wiz was doing okay, but what happened? Like, he kind of just dropped sets to people randomly.
Yeah.
Like, we know he has like top fours, but what the heck? Because I think that was like one of the final, like the big tournaments I even talked about it because Wiz was on stream.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened to Wiz? Like, he had top four opening, beat Rick, like within the first few months. And then he like could not place. Like, he could not make a top 8 to save his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the Ascension video, they actually talk about that, right? They mention it. Like, they had Shoal talk, and he was like, Wiz kind of coming back to redeem himself because he had such a lackluster season towards the end.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really good because not only to talk about like what he did well with the defeats to Rick, where he beat players like Rick, but they also at least nodded to that he had a poor season, like these early dropouts. I think the only thing that wasn't included was like he has an abysmal record versus me. Like, who cares? I'm not in the top 12, so it doesn't matter. So they got like all the points they needed to. But I feel like for some of the other players, it was just they chain good. That's the video.
Yeah. Like, there were highlights of their strengths, but less so their struggles, which, like, I think, like you said, it creates a more fluid storyline if you can identify not only like where they're strong and the reason why they qualified for top 12, but also the struggles that they had to overcome in order to get here in the first place. Because it wasn't smooth sailing for anyone, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to tell that was the case.
Yeah, because I just felt like so many of the videos, like I actually don't remember a lot of them because like they felt just so samey to me.
Right.
In the sense that like, oh, okay, this video is going to be about Neru. Okay, Neru does freestyle. Okay, that's cool. Why is that important?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they like to play it that way. I'm like, okay. And the only part that got interesting about that was when they kind of like brought up like Neru was a freestyler who swapped to GTR to, perform better because their freestyle was not winning them events. Like, that's a good video point to me.
Right.
Because, it's interesting. It kind of gets you like behind this player a bit. And I think for some of the other ones, like, they could have had interesting moments. Like, I think, when you saw the head-to-head, right, it looked like you were just like 50-50 with a lot of the players.
Yeah.
I think that would have been an interesting video point within like your video to talk like, oh, he is top of the standings, but it's not like a clear top because during his season, he's been just eking out head-to-heads against the other top season here to prove that it's not just an ego, like he can keep up with it even in matchups where he is close with other players.
Right.
Like, stuff like that. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity from Ascension. From otherwise, I did really like the videos. I thought it was cool to have that kind of like introduce the characters of this tournament. Who are they?
Yeah, like finally sourcing them up like you've been asking for the longest time.
Yeah, I think Wiz and probably Dan got the most sauce because Dan's style is just so unique. You can easily just
Yes.
talk about it.
Yeah, certainly.
Because I know like so many Japanese players know Dan's style, so it's very easy to just talk about that in a video. Like
That's
in a
right.
scene that's dominated by Japan players, they recognize his style as unique. That's crazy, right?
Yes, that's right.
So I feel like for me, like that was kind of some missed opportunity there.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you have any differing opinion on the videos from your perspective.
Yeah, I guess I wonder if it's so difficult because there is so little time to construct these. I was gonna say like it'd be nice if they had consultation with people like you who have followed the season and could help with constructing those storylines. Because I'm not sure how much Show followed like the entire season, right? I know he was here like in and out, but I just don't know how much time he had. And as I said, like it's a time thing. I don't know how much you can dedicate yourself to something when you're busy with like other things in your life. But if they had been able to consult some people, then they might have been able to like flesh out the storylines a bit better, because maybe they were just missing that information in the first place. But of course, everything was like in a very strict timeline because Shoal had to edit together so many videos for this to happen. Like there was so much work on the back end, especially the day 2 ones. He had literally not even a day to put those together. It's crazy, man. He was working so hard.
Yeah, I think it's kind of one of the tough parts for Switch. I think sometimes they do spread themselves too thin.
Sure.
I think it is tough because I agree with you. Like, Shoal had like no time for that. It was. They want him to commentate too, and I'm like, guys,
no way,
what
man.
are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't originally supposed, I think, to have WizKid and Kyobi.
Yeah.
WizKid wanted to come, but he ended up in top 12, so he became like a maybe slot.
Yeah.
And then they wanted Shoal to commentate, but Shoal was like, guys, I have to edit all these videos. Like, I'm not going to be able to do that if I'm commentating. I need to do it while I am watching the tournament.
Exactly. It was kind of insane.
Yeah, so I feel like they put so much weight on the few people that they're willing to look in sometimes, and not enough to like what you're saying. Like they could have asked me if I had any thoughts on the players, you know, to help with the videos. But I think I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't want to. Maybe he likes doing it himself. Thinks he knows the players like well enough. But it felt like there just was a missed opportunity for me.
Sure.
Because I think they're super sick.
Yeah. I think, yeah, so when it came to, like, the main videos, that's definitely, like, a piece of feedback to pass on to and hopefully enhance them for next time. But I think one of my favorite parts of the production, and I assume you'd probably agree with this, is just the player interviews. Because it was so nice getting to hear from everybody, since it's, like, there is a level of social, activity in Ascension, and it's definitely improved over time, but there's still a lot of people who like sit on the edges who don't know much about the players' personalities, because it gets buried in like random EN, and it's like not everyone checks random EN, even though that's some of the funniest conversations we get. But yeah, like I feel like it was a great opportunity for people to learn about these players, and again, like there's more to root for when there's a person behind the controller, or a person behind the name, rather than just their play style speaking for them.
Yeah. I think the interviews, because it's the first time too for everyone. I know Hiku prefers to ask questions about the game, and I think that's fine, especially for like a first time interview. Kind of setup that they were doing. Like, I thought that was fine. I thought that was good. I thought some players were much more articulate than others. Because I think some players were definitely very nervous about sounding mean.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which is like fair, you know. So you can tell, like especially like on some of the draft picks, where like people felt like they just had a winning matchup. They would do anything but say, "I feel like I could win this" for the most part. It wasn't like I picked this person because I think I just win this matchup. It was, oh, I don't know. I just feel like everyone's so tough, and this is just like the best option. I would just say you think this is who you could beat. To be honest with ourselves, you're not fooling anyone.
This is what you need to coach people on now.
Yeah.
Their self-confidence and trash talking.
It's not even trash talk. I think there is a very there's like a line in sports where in competition in general for other games where it's okay to be like I think I can just beat this player, so I'm picking them.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing. You're picking who you can beat, and I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone should know that, and everyone will understand that. So if you just like want to go on stage and be like, I'm picking Void because I think I will beat him because I have had a good matchup against him throughout the season. Nothing wrong with saying that.
Yeah.
But I think for some players, it kind of is intimidating because, this is a new format that not many people have experience other than myself.
Yes.
So knowing like what is correct way to present yourself, I think can be tough. And I feel like a lot of players just wanted to play it safe on the discussion part of it because they didn't want to be rude, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just like, man, you can say it's okay to be like, I just think I could win this.
That's what I'm saying, Tony.
Yeah.
I think that Riley should put that in his like little coaching description now. I will teach you how to trash
Public
talk.
speaking skills.
And public speakers, because to be honest, like, actually, this is very reflective of the Puyo community in general, that not a lot of us have the opportunity to do a lot of public speaking, because not only is it a new format, but also it's a new opportunity for a lot of people to actually be out in the open. Like, I know a lot of people like Neru and Kupari who said, like, they're generally a lot more quiet, especially in person, and so they're not sure how they should be presenting themselves. And at the end of the day, you shouldn't be like trying to make yourself look a certain way. Like being true to yourself is always going to be the best thing to do, but it's just like inexperience, right?
Yeah, I think Nero's kind of funny that. I think Nero might have I have the ego player actually with the way they talk in matchmaking now. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of a turnaround to like a Nero kind of like heel arc. Not quite villain
That would be
because
really
like
funny.
Nero has some opinions. I'm like, I don't agree with that, but it's good I don't agree with it because
Yeah.
it makes for interesting conversation.
Well, I think the thing that
And
people need to
personality.
recognize is that they are allowed to have more contrasting opinions, because I see a lot of people also just like cheering for Neru, which I think is deserved, but also I think there's space for more people to have similar opinions to you, Riley, where they just haven't said, hey Neru, I think this and this in contrast. Like, I haven't seen much of that in Ascension yet, and I'm waiting for people to start like piping up about it.
I know some players have some conflicting opinions. I watched the POV of the crew battle recently, and I'll be real with you, it looked like there was no teamwork for the European team. It did not look like they were communicating at all.
Right.
I would hear Nero give opinions, and I could hear some of the players just like not say anything. They would just like, okay, that's it's Neru. So like, I can't tell which of that was like focused or like, guys, you should communicate if Neru is talking to you about strat. Like, even if you don't agree with Neru, you gotta be like, I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
You're a teammate. You gotta discuss.
It's teamwork,
whereas like
guys.
Tom was like talking about like, I think this is the best matchup for this player. And like,
they would probably like pull it out the spreadsheets.
Yeah, like Ali literally made a spreadsheet with Marquez.
There you go.
I'm like,
I thought so.
Where was this for Europe? like, oh my god, I just like stuff like that. I think because Neru is new, and I think Neru does have good information in there.
Yes.
Like, it's not like I'm like, oh, Neru doesn't know anything. I think Neru does know a good chunk of stuff. It's just I think players who don't have that. It kind of goes back to like, I don't want to say I can beat this person. It's kind of like, I don't want to say my opinion feels more correct, right? It's like, even if it is subjective, I think that is it, and it's like why players like Neru get fans, but also like why sometimes I think people don't respond to Neru, because if they don't agree, they just don't want to say something. Like, you should say something. Like, it's better to say something than nothing.
Yeah, as long as you're not like, okay, I didn't expect to say this on stream, but everyone knows we're right about this. You just don't Darnell it, okay? Like, and everyone. But the thing is, everyone knew that what he was saying wasn't right to phrase it like that. Like, the people who are really concerned about how they come off, to anyone in chat, if you're ever like anxious about, just make your anxiety go away. Sorry. Anyway, if you're anxious about how you're going to come off to people, and you're thinking about these things, it's more than likely that you're never going to be the source of the problem. Or if you are, then like, people are going to just like very politely tell you that it's not coming off correctly, right? Like, I think if you are already thinking about the way that you phrase things to people and the way you disagree with others, then try voicing your opinion and like get that social experience in, because like those are the steps you need to take to become more confident, first in social settings, and then like if you end up having to do public speaking like these interviews, then you'll be able to be more confident in doing so. It's just about putting yourself out there, which again is easier said than done. Of course, I'm not just saying you can make your anxiety vanish, but again, have some confidence in the fact that you are conscientious as a person, because I think you're definitely not going to come off badly if you're thinking about these things. Be genuine, right? That's ultimately what I'm trying to say as well. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
Lloyd.
I agree. Like, as much trash as Darnell has earned himself, I will admit, like, he did have some like reasonable like gameplay opinions, because he does like have a build order. Like, people who
Yeah.
have played Darnell can like tell you like he can build 13, 14 chains. Like, he is not like a bad player.
Yes.
He's just kind of an asshole.
Yeah. He had no like awareness of these things.
Yeah.
And didn't try to improve. That's one of the
but
other things. Like, it's one thing to be like unaware of the way you come off, but it's also like when people are telling you, just listen.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think that was my only big part for the interview. Was like some players I think definitely held back, but I think that's okay given like the circumstance.
Yeah.
I would have liked more interview questions about maybe points in the circuit. Like, this would be like a day one interview thing,
Right.
or day two, depending like when you got your interview done. Because you have the time, I would have been interested to hear about like, again, this is where I think Wiz did better. Wiz, talked about like why he thought he had a rough season.
Yeah.
And he talked about like, strategies. Like, he mentioned it in his interviews. Like, I got something planned. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I don't feel like Stairs is just gonna beat Dan. So I'm probably gonna bring out GTR or something else that I think has a chance to like win me the tournament, even if I end up losing with it.
Yeah.
And like, I make a lot of Wiz memes because everyone's seen the like Riley clip. Why am I losing to Riley, right? But like, I think legitimately Wiz does care about winning, and he is willing to like kind of talk about his opinion, even if it's not right or if it's wrong, because like he will attack the thought process, and I think that's why he had the best player interview, because he was so willing to be like, on day one he was like, yep, this is what I think is a good way to approach the matchup, and this is how I'm going to do it. And I would have liked to see like more of that, either not about the matchup or like maybe specific points in the season that was important to that player, which kind of goes back into they probably should have asked someone else about like myself about what we thought was important moments for a player, so they can ask those questions to them.
Yeah.
Because I would have been interested to hear stuff about like kind of like a similar wavelength of Anna talking about her first time playing Rift, I would have liked to hear about like maybe the thought process of like why Nero swapped up. I think Nero kind of sometimes has trouble articulating his point, but like eventually they could get him there, right? Because they would have time.
Yes.
Or a question about Free Mecha, who is made it in through mainly qualification, like the kind of like very different way of qualifying for into top 12, right? That could be an interesting conversation, because again, this was a very participation focused event, and I do think it would have been interesting to be like, hey, Free Mecha, okay, so this is like your situation, does it feel like different compared to like some of the other players who have been kind of trying to break this barrier, and you're kind of still in that like prove yourself grounds,
Right.
And I think it kind of goes back to also like some people don't want to say that because it could sound rude, but like I think the way if you phrase it well will not sound rude.
No, I think so too. It's probably just a level of like intertwining the history that happened throughout the circuit into the player narrative, right? Because I think that's the ultimate goal of being able to bring these things up. It's like, yeah, here's like scenarios you've been put into, like what has changed since then, and that really allows players to unpack in a more personal way, because I think all of the interview questions were pretty much the same for all players, which again, perfectly reasonable, because he wanted to streamline this as much as possible because there's already so much work happening to it. But as a future consideration, yeah, like if you can get a bit more of that background in there, then that will make the interviews stand out more amongst each other, because players will be talking about specific moments that are important to them, not just general like matchup information, which is already mostly on the screen because it does have like the head-to-head already, unless you ask like directed questions about that head-to-head or like specific tournaments where that head-to-head happened.
Yeah, but questions like how does like Cooper have another? Do you have like a gain in confidence because you won your first tournament like this year? Like stuff like that could be like insane. I think something they could have done for Rick. Like I was thinking about this in hindsight. It's like okay, Rick couldn't do an interview because he doesn't have like good English. But what could have happened, I think, was maybe if depending like because they knew Rick was going to be in there. Like there was no way he was going to fall out. You could have honestly just asked Rick in text, maybe see if Eclipse be willing to translate, and then just have Shoal like RP as Rick, or have someone else be the voice for Rick.
I was surprised that they didn't ask Eclipse to do some translation for him, actually. But again, maybe that was because, like Void says, it was so tight, so it was like they didn't want to take a risk. But Eclipse was around, so I don't know.
Yeah. And the reason why I think there's more time is like you kind of know Rick has been in top 12, so it's probably like the interviews were probably like a much later decision.
Yeah, I mean it's hard for us to say because we weren't on production side.
We can only speculate, right? But again, like I think that's just an idea for next year if you have that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm sure a player will be willing to translate for a big event.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I think asking Rick questions about like the circuit would have been pretty interesting, even if there are kind of just like small answers because he is young.
Yeah,
just like hear like how he feels. I think could have been very cool.
I think so too, and again, like it gives him more personality. Like one of the reasons why I wanted to meet these other players in Japan is because I really feel for them as people, and unfortunately I just haven't been given the opportunity to like have that level of connection with Rick. Right? Like, I don't know much about him as a person. He's just kind of some kid who's really good at the game, which I respect a lot. But, like, I don't know. I'm sure Aclive could speak to, like, how cool Rick is. I just don't know about that. And probably most of the community also feels the same way about Rick, where we look up to him as a player, but not much more than that.
Yeah. I think that's my last real thought on the interview questions. I will leave it because I'm sure Void will probably mention this to Hiku and Haven.
Yeah.
Like, hey, they did feedback. Yes. Maybe give it a listen.
That would be nice. Yeah, feel free to like pass this on to the others as well, Void. You're more than welcome to.
Yeah. I guess I just say like I did love the videos. I'd love hearing everyone's voice. I'd like hearing the questions even if they were like streamlined because there was only so much time.
Yeah.
I still think it was nice to hear. I thought the graphs were okay. I thought they was interesting to see like the plays.
I actually really liked being able to see that those graphics go up, because even though they're what people expected, like there's still new players who are getting into the game and don't know about these players at all. So I think it's a really nice baseline to have that graphic on the screen and be like, oh, okay, like that seems to be the player's strength, so they know what to look out for.
So do you want to talk about regular season stuff now? Because we spent an hour on PGRS,
wow.
I don't know how much time you have.
Oh my goodness. I think I'll have to wrap now already then, but next time we will talk about like the circuit as a whole, I think, but I'm really happy we did get to talk about what we did today. It's been nice.
Same. Interesting. Yeah. My only other thought, I guess, before we end is that if they do the Ascension rating again, I think it should be like the in-circuit rating he could use. I feel like that's more better accurate representation for the players than the Ascension one.
I think there was a little bit of talk about that because it was a bit like, what should we actually prioritize?
Never with the 1.3. Yeah, that was a good hour talk. Say I have next week available, so I'm assuming we can just find another time then.
Yeah, probably, and then we'll talk about the other side of this. I guess I'll rename the pod as like this is more about the finals, and the next time we'll talk about like the circuit as a whole, which will be really interesting because we're thinking about talking about like individual player ups and downs.
I think
as well.
I think players, the experience between Sega versus community events. I think maybe in hindsight, if we have different opinions on like how we felt about certain formats, maybe terms we liked, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think that'll be really good. Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, Void brought this up earlier too, and I think this is one of the funniest things for all of us. The insane Dan trash talking was one of the biggest
Oh, that's
highlights
funny.
of like the play interviews as well. You cannot get much better
Yes.
than the way
Oh,
he was talking to everyone. I loved
yeah,
it.
yeah, the Dan and Void trash talk was definitely super highlight. Even if they shot me both, even though I was the only one on prediction stream to be like, I think Void can beat Rick, and Void was like, Riley, you son of a bitch, and you shot me.
Yeah, sorry, Riley. He's gonna mess with you forever.
Yeah, that's okay. I love Void. I love Dan. It was fun.
It was so fun. I'm really glad that they had fun with the event as well as like being able to carry through a win.
Yeah. And I'd say, yeah, Dan, Voice Kid, and then Void had definitely some good stuff, man. That was good. Do all over again, Riley. Thank you, Void. I appreciate that. I think it's good because it also shows connection between players and commentators. So it kind of helps again with that connection
Yeah,
between
exactly.
caster and like production.
Yep. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah. Okay, I won't hold you too long. So next time, Sega circuit stuff. We'll talk about
Yeah.
Sega events,
Yep.
community stuff, players, commentary, all that good stuff.
Exactly, exactly. So look forward to that sometime in the coming week. Also, I'll be, as I said, back to streaming like more normal in this coming week. I still have like some commitments that I'm doing, so I will be out still sometimes. So it's not completely back to normal yet, but yeah, I'll try and like get a few streams in here and there. But yeah, we'll be back soon, friends. Thanks everybody for coming along, and we have Shiro playing some Puyo, so go along and cheer on the good friend. Also, for some reason, Summoning Soul is still doing Punch-Out stuff. If you have not seen his most recent video, I recommend it. It's
Oh,
a
dude,
really
it's so
good
good.
story. It's
So he
really,
already got
really good
159.
story.
What more does he want? The 158? He wants the task. So,
I think
like,
he does want to!
I
For
believe
some
that. I totally
reason!
believe that.
It's so messed up. Oh,
I
no, he's
believe
doing
in the skull.
blindfolded right now, so... And I think he
Oh,
currently
really?
has world record on that too, so I don't know what he's doing.
I love Summoning Song. He's hilarious.
He's so good. One of the peak. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the ad to finish and then I'll actually end stream. So like, um, yeah. Anyway, lots of recommendations. Go watch Dan's most recent videos. Go watch Shiro, who we're rating. Go watch Summoning Swords videos, and come watch my streams when I'm back next week. For now, as always, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Love you guys, and I'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.